We're in a pretty extraordinary situation right now in the middle of investigations that have been extraordinary up to this point, where you have the president's son basically posting his own emails, talking with an associate about a meeting that the associate says was set up by the Russian government. He is leaning on this idea that while the meeting occurred, nothing came out of it. He didn't emerge with incriminating evidence about Hillary Clinton, his father's opponent at the time, and that really, it just wasn't a consequential meeting. Now, that may be so, but it doesn't negate the fact that he took a meeting with someone who either is connected to the Kremlin or at the very least was professing to be connected to the Kremlin. And what we've really seen over the last 3 or 4 days is the White House reeling from these revelations. The White House has been pretty aggressive all the way up to President Trump in pushing back on the Russia investigations, calling the investigations a hoax, a witch hunt. But when you talk to officials privately, they recognize that this is a more serious situation. Not necessarily because it's going to result in any kind of legal charge or that it's going to push the investigations in a particularly damaging direction, but it just looks bad. Now we've seen him, after his son has come out publicly and talked about this, go back out on Twitter and defend him, say that he has been transparent and open, and to again go back to this idea that the Russia investigations at their core are a democratic witch hunt. But again, the feeling from other people in the administration and other Trump allies outside is that while the president might be touting that line publicly, this is causing a lot of consternation in the West Wing. Trump came back from Europe, and that was pretty much the last we saw of him before these revelations came out. He's leaving for Paris on another short trip to Europe, and in between, he's basically had no public events. We haven't also had any on-camera briefings from the White House. So while all of this is swirling around the president and his family, the White House has almost gone into bunker mode. Well, I think there are some questions still that we need to answer about the meeting that Donald Trump Jr. had. He claims that there was nothing that came out of it. I think it's worth pressing the administration and the president's son on that point. What really did happen in that meeting? And then I think we need to know whether this meeting was actually being set up by the Russian government. The lawyer who was involved has said that she has no ties to the Kremlin. She was not there to do the Kremlin's bidding. But this, again, gets to the heart of this investigation, whether there were contacts between the Trump administration, the Trump campaign at the time, and the Russian government. And at the very least, I think what this does is it adds legitimacy to the investigations. No matter what the president says about this being a hoax or a witch hunt, Republicans and Democrats are largely in agreement now that this is a worthwhile endeavor to pursue this wherever the leads take the investigators.